There has never been a greater time than now to invest in the Metro Detroit area, and there is no other investment firm better qualified than Platinum Real Estate Holdings. With 40 years experience and over 1,000 homes sold, let Platinum Real Estate Holdings assist you with the purchase of a city-certified home of the highest quality, turnkey properties, screen renters, yielding instant cash flow. Well, what are you waiting for? Call or visit us online today.
Welcome to the weekly recap for the week of July 25th. In today's recap, we're going to discuss why Brexit is great news for U.S. homebuyers. And lastly, share a recent report that reveals more Americans are struggling to pay their rent. This week's recap begins now. Brexit is great news for U.S. homebuyers. Why? The answer is it's even cheaper to get a mortgage now. The average mortgage rate of a 30-year fixed mortgage dropped to 3.48%, the lowest level since May 2013, according to Freddie Mac. The drop comes in the wake of the UK's decision to leave the European Union. The historic vote sent the yield on the U.S. 10-year Treasury, which serves as the benchmark for consumer loans, tumbling to 1.45% the last week of June. The rate on the 15-year fixed mortgage also dropped to 2.78%. If you've been sitting on the proverbial fence about refinancing or purchasing a home, this could be a great time for you. The UK's decision to separate from the European Union on June 23rd triggered a massive sell-off that erased a record $3 trillion from the global stock market over the next 2 days after the announcement. Some experts expect the fallout from the vote to be a boon for the U.S. real estate market as more foreign buyers seek out a safe haven to park their cash. The drop in home rates can provide some breathing room for wannabe buyers in the U.S. who have been facing rising home prices and tighter lending requirements. However, the counterbalance to the positive U.S. Brexit prediction is that this low inventory and high demand pushing up home prices throughout the country creates an affordability issue. Home prices increased 5% in April from the year prior, according to the latest S&P Case-Shiller National Home Price Index just released. Next up, an annual State of the Nation's Housing Report from the Joint Center for Housing Studies of Harvard University. They report more Americans are struggling to make rent. The number of renters dedicating at least half of their income toward housing hit a record high of 11 million people in 2014. A total of 21.3 million are spending 30% or more of their paycheck to cover the rent, also a record high. Personal finance experts generally suggest budgeting around 30% of monthly income to cover housing costs. But that's getting harder to do with rent prices rising faster than wages. Household budgets are taking a hit. Losing such a large portion of a paycheck to cover housing means cutting back in other areas. When you have to dedicate such a high portion of your income to rent every month, it forces you to make difficult decisions, said Dan McHugh, a senior research associate at the Joint Center. Not only does that mean less spending on essentials like food, clothing, and healthcare, it also makes it tougher to achieve long-term financial security by saving an emergency fund, a down payment, or retirement. Middle-class renters in expensive cities are struggling. In the 10 cities with the highest housing costs, renters with middle-class incomes are having a particularly hard time making ends meet. 50% or more making $30,000 to $75,000 a year living in these hot markets are considered quote-unquote cost burden, meaning they spend at least 30% of their income on rent. It's not just young people who are renting. The shift toward renting has been widespread among age groups, incomes, and different types of households, said McHugh. Last year saw the biggest surge in new renters in history, according to the report, bringing the number of people living in rental units to around 110 million people, or about 36% of households. Middle-aged renters made up a lot of the new demand, with 40% of renters aged 30 to 49. And renters are sitting on both ends of the pay scale. Almost half of new renters in 2015 earned less than $25,000 a year, while top-income households have been the fastest-growing segment of new renters for the past 3 years. Low-income renters are getting squeezed out. More affluent renters are staying in the rental market longer and driving up the demand for housing. Traditionally, the wealthy would move on to become homeowners, but tight inventory in the housing market is keeping them in rentals longer, and developers are focusing on building luxury apartments that tend to provide a higher return on investment. That's dragging overall rents higher and leaving a dearth of affordable rentals. The median rent on a new apartment was $1,381 in 2015, according to the report, which means a renter would have to make at least $55,000 a year to be able to afford the rent. And with the typical renter making $34,000 a year, that means an affordable rental would be about $850. Home ownership, on the other hand, is becoming more affordable. While renters are paying more, affordability is improving for those who own their home. The number of cost-burdened homeowners declined in 2014 for the fourth consecutive year, according to the report, thanks to low mortgage rates. Are you paying more than half your income in rent? We would like to hear your story. Well, that's this week's recap. What would you like to add to the discussion? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.
This has been your weekly real estate investment news recap. Did you find this recap helpful? Please like or comment below this video to enter to win a free copy of our ebook, The Ultimate Real Estate Guide for Residential Real Estate Investments. You can also subscribe to our channel or go to our website to receive the latest in real estate news. Our website also affords you the opportunity to view our latest turnkey properties.